Welcome back to Gun&ShotTV. This is Chris, and today I was going to talk about a rifle I just put together. Now, I know some of you have probably seen the Mini 14 video I did, and I talked about how I've shot plenty ARs, not my favorite rifle. Nothing really wrong with the platform, just not something I wanted to have. But with the current climate and everything, and California throwing down some bans, and the election coming up, I figured now would be a time just to pick one up. In the future, if I decide I want one and they're not available, I'm going to be pissed because right now they're so cheap. So, with 4th of July sales and everything, I figured I'd see what I could do to make the absolute cheapest bare bones AR. I also wanted to hit right around the $500 mark because that's what I paid for my Mini 14, and I'd like to do a video comparing the two, or maybe doing some sort of test. If somebody has some good ideas for what I could do to test the two, that'd be fun. But I figured I'd try and stick to that $500 that I actually spent for my Mini 14 new in box, and we'd see what we could put together. Because one of the big complaints was a lot of people were saying Mini 14s are so much more expensive, and you could get a better value by buying an AR. So with a little bit of shopping around, I checked my local gun shop. They had lowers, Anderson, just your basic lowers. They weren't blems or anything. They were $48, which seemed like a pretty fair price for a lower. And then Palmetto had a Freedom rifle kit with 1-in-7 twist and a stainless steel barrel and a mid-length gas system, and that was $3.99. So I needed to add to that sight, so I just went with some cheap eBay $30 NC Star carry handle sights, and needed a few magazines. Now I ordered those from Palmetto as well. They are D&H 30 rounders. They say Palmetto on the base plate. Other than that, they appear to be the same as military issue, and those are like $8 a piece. So altogether for everything, it was somewhere around $500, maybe just a few dollars over $500. And this is what I built. Now the kit, the Palmetto kit number is, I believe, 43526. Now that's pretty much, like I said, everything but the sight and the lower. And this is just an old M1 sling I had laying around. But I put it together. Everything actually seemed to go together pretty well. The only thing I had a big issue with is this pin that holds the trigger guard on. It was a bear to get that thing in there. I don't know if it was slightly off-center or slightly bent, or I don't know. I ended up whacking on it for about 20-30 minutes to try and get it in, while also being gentle enough that I wouldn't break the ears off the lower. And that was some of the most nerve-wracking gunsmithing I've ever done. I ended up just putting Maui lube like on a toothpick and putting it in the other side, and then greasing this side, and eventually with enough wax I got it to move, got some actual lube in there, and then I did oil the pin before I put it in, but it was just stuck in there. So I don't know what the deal with that was, but really didn't use a whole lot of tools, just some basic stuff. With the pin issues and having never built an AR before, it did take me, I think, about an hour and 20 minutes from start to finish. But had I been able to get this stupid pin in, I think it would have been closer to about half an hour, which would have been much more reasonable. But all in all, it wasn't that painful. It wasn't something I'd say rush out and go do if you don't have any tools. Get some punches, get some basic stuff together. But once you have that stuff, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And with the upper already assembled, that saved me a lot of time and hassle and the need for some special tools. But all in all, like I said, I mainly bought this just to kind of have something to maybe compare and contrast with my Mini 14. As such, I'm hoping that it cycles with steel case ammo. I'm aware most people say don't run steel case in an AR, it's going to break the extractor, but I run my Mini 14 almost exclusively on steel case and don't have a problem. So I'm hoping that it will perform as well as the Mini. Now, I did try it. I've put, I think, 80 rounds through it. And of those 80 rounds, I did have a couple rounds that failed to cycle all the way back. The shell would eject, but it wouldn't strip a new round. Now, I did that maybe 4 or 5 times. I had gone through and oiled it and stuff, but it was still a little bit tight from being brand new. Now, after those rounds, I took it apart, cleaned it again, and greased it, went through, oiled it, did everything it needed to do for lube, and it's a lot smoother now. So I think I got that initial wear done, and I got some of that initial crud off everything that, you know, from that wear coming in. Now you're going to get little pieces of metal everywhere. So I got that all out. I've got some more steel cases. This is Herter's, I believe, but it's 55 grain FMJ. It should supposedly be made by Tula, and according to the reviews online, it does not cycle well in ARs. Now, as I said, out of the box with just a little bit of lube, it cycled pretty well for me. I did have a couple short stroke issues where it didn't actually take the next round and strip it off the mag, but all in all, I can't really complain about that. Like I said, being a new rifle and all that stuff, I'm not that concerned about it yet. We'll see how it performs today. But like I said, just give you some basic thoughts. I haven't really shot the rifle a lot, enough to give you an in-depth review, but for the $500 price, I think it's a pretty good deal. And if you have some ideas on some tests, that would be great. And hopefully, as I use it, get a little more used to it. I'm still not a giant fan of the AR platform, as far as it just doesn't excite me. It doesn't seem as much fun or as comfortable for me to shoot, personally, as my Mini 14. It just seems like a whole bunch of extra stuff that I really don't need. And this is pretty much just a base AR. But like I said, that's a personal preference issue. I don't think there's anything wrong with the gun. I think the direct impingement is a little bit flaky and a little bit wacky. I know piston ARs aren't really looked forward or looked up towards, mainly looked down towards. But I think direct impingement is kind of a pain in the ass, and taking the bolt apart and doing a lot of stuff compared to a Mini 14, it is a bunch of extra hassle. I'm going to say that right now. But like I said, we'll throw some rounds down range. This is just kind of a preliminary talking about the build and my experience with it, and we'll see how it shapes up with the gun. Once again, this is Herter's Tula 556 full metal jacket. I think it's actually 223 Remington marked on the box, but essentially the same thing either way. In the steel case, it's probably going to be a little weak and underpowered. But we're just going to shoot some. The sights on this are not the greatest sight. Like I said, it's an NC Star, and I'm not really that worried about having it super accurately sighted in right now. I'm more worried about whether the rifle is functional and whether I have any problems with it. Once it's running good and everything, I might put on a better sight or maybe even mess with zeroing this one. But really right now, like I said, I'm just concerned to see how the rifle runs. And I know steel case isn't the best ammunition for that, but like I said, I kind of wanted to be fair to my Mini 14 that thus far has eaten absolutely anything I put in it. So here goes 20 rounds. Okay, 20 rounds down, magazine empty, bolt lock back. That all looks very good. Once again, 20 rounds down, bolt lock back. So functioning pretty well this time. Like I said, I did give it a little bit more thorough of a lube job inside the bolt and everything, and I think that's probably all it was, mixed with a little break-in. But we're going to keep wrecking this HP office jet. Once again, bolt lock back. Mag empty, everything looks good. Last 20 rounds. So we've got 60 down with no malfunctions, no issue, using Herter's steel case, which, according to reviews on Cabela's own website, says cannot be done. Once again, mag empty, bolt lock back, no issues. Barrel's getting a little bit hot, but other than that, functioned very well. So, like I said, for a $500 kit, $500 gun, I think it's a pretty good deal, an outstanding deal. If you want to go through the hassle of building it yourself, not a huge hassle, but something to be aware of. And for Gun&ShotTV, this is Chris. Like I said, if you have any ideas on a good test, this versus the Mini 14, be sure and comment. If you think I'm an idiot or an asshole or I should have bought a better gun, I mean, I'm aware there are much nicer ARs than this, but the The Freedom line, I think, is pretty good value for the money, and I really like the fact that it's just black. Some of the nicer premium line PSA items have PSA logo all over them, and frankly, I'd rather just have the black gun. Looks a little bit more Mel-Serp to me, and looks a little bit neater to my taste. But like I said, for Gun&ShotTV, this is Chris. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.